Hello, Unionists. Welcome to this after church tea time. I'm very happy to be here with you. As always, we're going to discuss this Sunday sermon around a drink. And so I'm Yorin, and I'm accompanied with Dylan and Hannah today. And I'm drinking a lime water. Hello, Dylan and Hannah.
Yeah.
Got some water.
Yeah, we're pretty basic today with our waters, but we got our twin flame matching tumblers, which is funny.
You're cutest. Okay, Dylan and Hannah are like matching on outfits and drinks right now. It's so funny. But yeah, today we're going to talk about Jason and Chrissy's sermon on how to respect your relationship with God. And so let's just get right into it. I am just curious about how you felt first about the sermon overall.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was very important. Like, it was a very important message for everyone, and myself included. And I thought that the meditation was really nice and kind of involved like surrendering to respecting yourself and God at the end. And the card reading was on point, as far as like accepting that this is a new beginning for you and kind of like stepping into that this next level of transformation and growth and purpose, which was really cool. And yeah, just overall, like having respect for what God tells you throughout any sign or message that you receive or through your guru, and being able to like follow that like diligently and with humility. I thought that was really important.
Yeah, I literally started tearing up during the meditation when I heard you are an intentional creation of the Almighty, and like that just hit me and was like, whoa, like me. And like that kind of tied into to what Chrissy was saying about respecting God, and like when God tells her to do something, she moves through that block a lot of times of like, oh, who, me? Like, isn't there someone better for this? Or, but no, it's like respecting God is just having like this total trust in, he put you where he's put you for a reason. And like, I really loved how they really emphasized how we all have a piece, and like we're all meant to be doing our piece. And when we respect what God's brought us to with our piece, and like just go all in with that and embrace it, we're really respecting like who we are at the core. We're respecting all of our brothers and sisters who are working towards being themselves at the core. And there was a lot of juicy stuff in this week. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think it's very much a period of like out with the old, in with the new, like this new era, and a lot of things to work through. And I have to say as well, I've been watching a YouTube channel recommended by Shaleia, and it was on like near-death experiences. And the one video that she recommended was really like telling for me, because they all speak about how they're like bigger than their body, like bigger than the capacities that they ever could imagine they could be on this earth. And so as I'm working through like being more and more my divine self, and working through who I truly am, and taking on new responsibilities with your new era, letting go of like things, I'm thinking a lot about how it's just like, hey, like God knows her purpose, and you may feel like fear or resistance to like listening to him or having a relationship there, but then you're just going to have more joy and be more of yourself when you listen to God, because God knows best. And I think that's the whole message of this whole journey. It's just to realize that we're only doing it with God, and we may feel like it's a battle sometimes, and we may feel like it's hard, but it's like the card reading was saying, is it's only like the illusions living and answering the call. And Chrissy was saying that it was just like simply surrendering, surrendering into like who you are and what God has for you, and the beauty of it, and just that the beauty of discovering that you weren't expecting to go this route, for example, but you realize that God's plan for you and relationship with you was exactly what you desired anyway. And I felt that was just like so beautiful and peaceful. I think this service was a very special one. It's just like just the whole feeling of going deeper into a truth that is always there, but is sometimes masked by all this density and illusions. And I love how Soraya just like explained it in the way that we chose to have this experience of separation, and maybe having like all the choices, but and it might be counterintuitive for a lot of people. It's just like being with God is like the only choice that we ever need. And that in itself is so simple and yet so difficult to like apply sometimes in real life. So yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a process to like have it click, like in totality, and being able to like surrender control and not try, like, and just be yourself too. Something that like I feel like this has a lot to do with like respecting God, is like just respecting who you are and who God wants you to be, so that you can share the message that like he has for you. And each person like has a unique message to share. So I think that's really, really beautiful, that like even all of us within this church, like we all have a unique message and a unique part to play. And that's one thing that Jason and Chrissy touched on too, is like we all have a part to play, and it's valuable to the whole church. So to be able to like really like ground into that and recognize that is truth, and that was, God telling you that like you're valued here, and you have a piece to play, and to like go towards that and to discover that more. And yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and something that they did say in live class today was about how like others are only going to find this work like through us, and like through those that are embodying it and like showing up, and like the volunteering. And that was really powerful for me today, because and it played right into this, like because of like our choice to respect God's like role and purpose in our life. Like you were saying, we don't see the bigger picture. We don't see how many people are being impacted, and how like like there was a post in the group the other day about like one person that reaches enlightenment can change the entire world. And like even though we're not at that state of enlightenment, like we're still changing the world. And like the only way we've been able to do that is by respecting the path that God has brought in front of us, and walking it, and really learning. Like I feel like respect is a choice. Like you choose to respect yourself, you choose to respect God, but then you have to really learn what that means for yourself and what, you know, boundaries you need, what what your capabilities are, and really finding your flow of life. And I feel like they touched on the flow too today, and how like like when it feels good, you're in the flow. When it's not feeling good, you're not in the flow. And it's good, it's okay to respect when you're not feeling good, and to choose God there, and to choose love there. And that really like is part of, I feel like, respecting yourself, is like, you know, accepting and
Not avoiding it.
yeah, exactly, which is definitely something I'm working on and going deeper with, like, a lot lately. So it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think the whole journey is about discovering this two-way relationship with God. And in discovering that relationship, we learn to respect God. And I loved how in the service it was like reiterated that God will ask that respect, that passion, that love from you. It's not just a freebie that, but the price that you have to pay is more joy for you. And I find this so interesting. And I think a lot of the time we're just making new choices and reaffirming that we're choosing God in some places, and making new choices again, and then learning and growing. And I find this so interesting that, right now my day is like, okay, I wake up and how will I choose God? And will I choose God when I ride my bike, and will I choose God when I do a meditation? And will I choose God when I respond to people in the forum, or will I choose God when I teach to kids in my day job? And will I choose God in all of these things? Will I choose God in Ascension coaching or volunteering? And then the more you choose God, the more you reveal his plan for you. And I love that we're all going through that phase of like me, like I'm the one, chosen for these types of things. And I'm like, can I do that? Like, am I able to do that? Do I have arms and strength to do that? But then God gives us the exact strength and energy that we need to do anything that he's called us to. And that just makes me remember a TFAS class where Jeff was explaining how he came to understanding that he was the beginning of the second coming of Christ. And he was like, me? God, really? Me? Like good old me? And that was that's a defining moment, knowing how now he's pretty sure that he's meant to build system that will only keep the heaven on earth growing. And I find it so inspiring for all of us, because it's really like, I guess what I want to say is that it's not like when we grew up, for example, like I think we all grew up Christian here or Catholic, and it's not like when we grew up and we were told that if we're doing bad, like we will be punished and things like that. No, it's just a journey where like God accepts that you're discovering him, and he accepts that you have doubts, but he keeps reiterating the choices, and you make the choices, and you go forward, and you make a new choices, and you go forward. And if you make a mistake, you make a new choice, and then it's okay again. Like your soul is not doomed or something like that. And I find this so refreshing and relieving. And I think it's important to say for people, it's not about like you have to respect big bad angry gods, otherwise you will be doomed. No, it's just it's just like be you, and ask God to join you in all these little things like eating or teaching or, doing marketing or stuff. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think that really speaks on like just being present with life too, and like being present with each little thing that you spoke of, and realizing that like there's a bigger picture involved, with all of these like little choices that you make. Like you're going to receive something back in the end, and if you realize that you made a good choice, then maybe your life is flowing, and if you realize you made a bad choice, then you're stuck and you're not feeling good. But if you're not present with like not feeling good, or avoiding the fact that you aren't feeling good, then you're not really being present with God, and like respecting like what he's showing you in a sense. And like you said, it's not like you're gonna get like beat on the head, and but sometimes it might like feel like that in some way, that you're you're not feeling good at some point in time. And I think that just has to do with like being present with your feelings and who you are, and all these little choices that you make, sometimes without necessarily realizing that you're making a certain choice. But,
Yeah, and I agree with, it's funny, when I was growing up, similar to Soraya, like it was always like, you respect your parents, like respect your parents is one of the 10 commandments and all of this. And like I do choose to respect my parents and to respect everyone and to respect God. And but it's funny because yeah, I resonated with her where she said she was being asked for respect, but it was like she wasn't receiving love there. Like it wasn't a mutual respect. And I feel like it just really ties into respecting yourself and like your commitments and what you believe in, and like that is like respecting God. And like I've learned so much about, I feel like, respect without even realizing it, through volunteering and being with the COU and like showing up to our meetings and things like that. Like it's really taught me, because in the past when I had commitments and all this stuff, it's like would have been like a college class I had to go to, and like it was just like things that weren't like super fulfilling. I just had to do them. But with this, it's so different because like I show up, I respect myself when I'm there, because I've learned that, like you were saying, my presence is like, I don't know exactly how to tie it, but it makes sense. Like my presence is like how I respect myself, and like by being present with whatever I'm doing is like how I respect myself. And like so like online shopping during a college class is not really respecting myself, but like I didn't know that at the time. Like it just felt good to do and like to numb out. But like now with learning presence and respect, it's yeah, it just really takes my life to another level. And yeah, and I'm still learning that. And like you said, this new era, I think we're all cultivating the energy of high respect for the teachings and for our gurus and for Jeff and Shaleia, and same thing, and for the COU itself. And so I feel like it's really powerful to have this sermon on respecting God and unrespecting ourselves, because it's only going to lead to more respect for the community, which is what we all deserve and are cultivating.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's no coincidence with the fact that respect is one of the 8 keys to harmonious union. And I think it's because we all have to learn what is true respect on earth, and we probably don't exactly know. And I also relate to you and the experience as a child, because I think in my culture, a lot of the times, but not just in my culture, I think it happens everywhere. Respecting your parents and the elders is just something that is like a guarantee for them, but we'd have no guarantee in return to be respected. It's like respect for them is a one-way street. And a lot of upsets that we have is like family pattern playing out. And I think there was a lot that showed me maybe that God, like the ultimate parents, divine parent, was probably like asking for respect as a one-way street. So like you're scared to be hurt, and that's maybe why we're digging our heels in the sand, as Chrissy says, or we're resisting, or we're feeling like, I'm not so sure, because we've not been shown how a relationship truly is, like not even an even exchange, because you can really have an even exchange with God, but like just knowing that doing your part, showing up, giving respect where you receive respect as well, where you're sure that you can receive that love in return, like it's also part of being with God. And I find that super interesting, because it's so different from probably what society says that respect is. And I think it's super humbling, and it removes all the entitlement that we have. And maybe that was like the original thing that we had while like creating Earth, is that as human beings, that we wanted to be entitled to our own choices, and we felt that we had power there. It will feel great, but entitlement just feels like heavy for people, and it can be felt like when someone is not really like completely wanting to respect you. And now that I say that, like I spoke my thought into existence, I just feel this relief, so I think I just learned something about like how true respect should feel, and I think it helps me go deeper in all of my ships, plural. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I think there is like a deep sense of like humility when like you're going through like the idea of respecting God and what God like provides to you. And you can see when someone feels entitled by that, like they feel entitled by their responsibility that God has provided for them, but they see it as like they went there themselves, or they got there themselves, and like I learned how to do this, and that's like totally ignoring the fact that like God provided you like the abilities and the time and everything that allowed you to be where you are or learn what you did, and to be able to like have humility there is like that allows God to see that you respect that you're not in control of yourself or the world. And yeah, just like a big misunderstanding that was part of a lot of people's lives, like at that point of time of like realizing that they could like try and like create politics over different territories, and trying to control mass amounts of people for their benefit. And like it's just such a misunderstanding of like what God provided for everyone in the world.
Yeah, I feel like it's like respecting yourself, but like not being arrogant with what with what God's given you, with what God's shown you. And like I think it's like part of the teachings, yeah, it's like there's no arrogance involved with like divinity, there's no entitlement. It's all like yeah, it's all just really, it's built on respect. And I think what you were saying about the keys to harmonious union, like respect is so important. And I think, well, I feel that like respect and disrespect is a big thing when it comes to twin flame relationships or relationships in general. And like Jason said, you know, there was a post in the group about someone's twin flame disrespecting them and yada yada. And so I think as we learn what true respect is for God and like for what he calls us to do, and building that spiritual muscle of like showing up when he calls, giving it our all, like not making excuses, and you know, building that respect and building the mutual respect between us and God. Like arrogance falls away, entitlement falls away, humility is just the only thing that, you know, I imagine you're able to feel, because you've truly built like this trust. And like yeah, and I think that we really need respect to be able to trust someone, because you're not going to want to let your boundaries down without having that respect earned, and then building that trust of like, okay, you respect me, let's keep going, and building that. And so I feel like God's like that too. And they say like God is shy, and how, you know, you have to show God that you respect him. You have to show him that you are listening to him and following him and building that trust with him, to go to the next level of relationship. And yeah, and I don't feel like that involves any control or, you know, like kicking and screaming and or any of that. It's just it's simple, but it's it just takes practice. And I feel like yeah, I feel like it's definitely something I'm learning still, and I'm grateful to be learning, especially from leaders like Chrissy and Jason, and you know, all those that have been here long before me. And yeah, and it's great. I think we have such a great chain of command in place. And yeah, just so much room for growth as we keep building like our own relationships with God and the teachings.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think like you touched on something very important, and I was thinking exactly that. Like you can ask for respect and trust from the get-go, and you kind of have to build these relationships, build that muscle, and that includes your twin flame, that includes your community peers, Jeff and Shaleia and God. And it's true that sometimes like people are like, hey, my twin flame is not doing this, my twin flame is not doing that. And then we take a good look at ourselves and we realize like, hey, we're not doing this for ourselves, but more importantly, like our twin flame is treating us how we treat God. So that should be a really, really good indicator of your relationship with God and how you can start to build that respect, because there is no time like now to begin. And I loved how you say that God is shy. And it's funny because I was doing the meditation exercise of the book, Twin Flames Finding Your Ultimate Lover, this morning. And my twin flame said twice, like, I'm shy. And he said that also, like, one of the time this week, actually said that. And I feel like, obviously, he's not quite shy in real life, but it was really about, like, it's safe to build that friendship, like you're building the blocks of that friendship with God, of that friendship with yourself. And it's okay that it takes, whatever amount of like time to build that, just as long as you learn and you keep like putting one foot in front of the other. And the thing is, like, from that meditation, from praying with God, from this sermon, from the TFAS class, from what we're saying, you don't even have like to consciously understand this, because I feel like because I started my day with like kind of this new piece of information, I was able to like build more with God and finally let go of like the old blocks, like again with the new era, like the old blocks, and start new, start fresh, and really answer God in ways that I hadn't answered God before. And I think maybe that's all that matters. It's really all that matters. And I think it's so relieving to truly deeply understand that. And also really beautiful to just like understand nuggets of that spiritually every day. I think it's so fun. And my next question would be, or I guess my next insight would be that Jason and Chrissy said that respect meant admiration for someone's qualities and personality traits. And usually, like, when you talk about admiration, I don't think like we understand admiration in that sense, but like when she asked, like, are you like admiring God's qualities, admiring what he gives, admiring his traits, admiring his feelings, really like seeing God as an actual person within us and within everything, instead of like just like far away. I think it really gave a new sense to admiration. It's like pure feeling of admiration. Admiration so pure that you're just ready to, go toward that person in a healthy way. At least that's like how I understood it. But yeah, I'm curious to know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, that definitely stuck out to me, like hearing the specific definition of respect. And like I feel myself, it made me realize like how much I really do respect God. And basically like in nature, I mean, like I just respect the nature of God and the world itself, and all of the terraces of the ground, and different like water, earth, air, it's just fire. I mean, everything is so magnificent and like intricately created.
Mhm.
And that's one of the, just for me myself, like I have so much respect for everything that this world has to offer. And it's something that, like, that's why I know myself personally, that I have built a beautiful relationship with God, and why like I'm here today, like within the church, and why the church came to me through my twin flame. And it's such a beautiful gift for me to receive, and to be able to like have respect for that is something that that took, at first it was like I had to surrender to the gift, and to understand that, like, to build respect, like you were just talking about, and to like learn to respect this gift of the church, and gurus Jeff and Shaleia, um and I have so much respect for everything that they've done and what they've built together. And yeah, so I really do admire God in a very intricate way myself.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like I never really thought about respect as that definition until today, like to admire, the qualities. I had always thought of it as like, like, I don't know, just I guess never in that way, but I think it's a really beautiful way to frame it, and like really simple. And like when you admire the good qualities about, anyone, but of course God, who has no bad qualities, like it's very easy to respect God. Because, yeah, like you were saying, Dylan, it's like he's absolutely magnificent and like wonderful, and like all the things that we feel about him, he feels about us. And it's so beautiful to have that reciprocal relationship that's happening. And as we build our relationship with God, I love what you said, Yoreen, about how your twin flame is always going to reflect your relationship with God back to you. And I think that's just so powerful and amazing. And like, it's so easy, like I said, to respect God. And then when you look at your twin flame, like, of course, they're going to trigger you and bring things up from you. But like, to know that respect is to admire the, like, I forget the exact words, but to admire like their good qualities and like their essence, like, is so beautiful. Because yeah, like it doesn't matter what triggers come up when you like are together, because that's what it's like. It's just like you have that admiration, that deep respect at the core for who they are and what they're made of. And yeah, and it's very powerful and humbling to just to be having this conversation right now. I feel so grateful. It's like just like light years ahead of where I've ever been in my life, and like so incredible. And I just respect this conversation itself so much. I admire it. And yeah, it feels very good.
Yeah, for me too. I was getting teary-eyed just now. Um, I yeah, I just feel like I love how Dylan said like he had just surrendered to the gift. I feel like it's a beautiful way to say that. Just like the way he was said, and I don't have anything else to say about this, but felt like it was important to point out. And then yeah, I just want to kind of go back to the videos about the near-death experience, and I love how there were really like messages of love to humanity, and not like very like dark and deep and sensationalized. Like it was very pure as well. And in those, they said something that I really relate to, and I find that it's a personality trait, but more and more on the ascension path, and especially in my volunteer experience, I find that it's also a quality that you must develop. It was that admiration for the world, for the smallest things, like for nature and for the right sunbeam, or a beautiful day, even like in the rain, or like just the beauty of life, the beauty of human beings, the light in each of us, and choosing to really see the world as a child, which is like what all religion really say, like be like innocent as a child, like and it's good to know that you can build that. Like the more you heal that, the more you go into that innocence. I think there was a 21st century school class I just watched about someone that was going deeper into their innocence just by understanding the vibration of harmonious union. And the second part of these videos is that some of them obviously begin to have spiritual practices after their NDE experiences, and a lot of them like discovered like gratitude. I love that Hannah said something about being like having gratitude for this conversation, because they really were saying like, I have gratitude for the good and I also have gratitude for the bad. And I really understood it this morning as like, you have gratitude for everything, because like even in my like worst feelings, like for example, when I volunteer, when I get triggered, or when my twin flame triggers me, I have such a breakthrough and awakening afterwards. that, you have to be grateful for the experience coming to you in order to receive everything. And this doesn't mean like, accepting to suffer, but it really means that you can be grateful for all the little things in your life and practice that gratitude. And in that, like, just the admiration, I feel like we never thought of that because we often think of it as like authority. And I think it's such a new perspective where you say that actually, like, it's all about like love and beauty and appreciating someone, like pure love, not just authority. And in that pure love, you come to respect the God in everything. And it is such a paradigm shift. So yeah.
Yeah, I really love what you said there about, the near-death experiences. I need to watch that channel, but I've seen them before. And authority, that was like totally the word I was looking for when I was trying to describe what I used to think of respect as. And yeah, and it's not, it's so nice to replace that with admiration. And it's so nice to recognize like the people that do have these experiences and come back, like you were saying, like it's all like light and like love, and it's not terror, like fear. It's yeah, it's really beautiful. And earlier this morning before church, I lit an incense and I was just staring at the like fire before I blew it out, and like watching the little sparks go off of it, and like just looking at how beautiful this fire, this flame was. And
I love doing that.
yeah, and it's just such a cool, like, it was just reminding me of what you were saying about like recognizing and appreciating like those little moments, like the ray of sun, and like all these little things, becoming that child of like, oh wow, look at this fire. Like there's so many cool moments like that yeah, when we're just surrendered and allowing God to show us and romance us and have fun with us, I feel like those moments come through more and more, and you appreciate them more and more. And like yeah, and I feel like as no matter what, like what you said really resonated with me about when you are triggered and when something does come up, it brings you to a new level of awakening. And so you have to be, and so it's good to be grateful for the trigger and for the upset. And I think that's really powerful. And yeah, and it shows like the respect that you have, and that, yeah, I choose to have too in like my own journey. And I remember I've said that to you before, like similar of like, I'm so grateful we had in this argument.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, because you could feel that we went to a new level of peace
Yeah.
and within our union. And yeah, and I've learned like through this work that, I mean, every upset is just another like door to go through and to go deeper to God. And like he's right on the other side of that door, just like, cheering you on. And you have to really like surrender that it's okay to like not feel good, or like it's okay that you aren't in control, and that something to happen that's maybe pretty shitty, but like that's all right, like because God will provide you everything you need. And we have the mirror exercise to be able to go through that period of time. And yeah, I really love talking about the inner child too. It's been like a component within my life for quite a while, and thanks to my dad's I could say that he like really fuels his inner child in his own way. But same with my mom too. I mean, they're lovers of little things and feathers and rocks and just beautiful creations of God. And I think that like the closer you are with your inner child, the closer you are with your divine self and with your like authentic self, and the more that you can connect with your life purpose and walk your divine path. It's like, if you aren't really connected with your inner child, then how can you listen to what it really desires? And because like your inner child is really like the little flame within you that's like lighting the path of your divine life. And if you're like trying to control your life in a way and thinking you have to do certain things to be in a certain place or position, or like you're not really listening to that inner child that's telling you that, you know, maybe some of those things are like an illusion, and
Right.
that you don't need that.
Yeah, you're not respecting like your divinity
Yeah.
when you're trying to control.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big lesson for me. Like just remembering that, like in doing as much as in being, and in being first, like I'm with God and I'm with myself. I think it really comes down to like respecting yourself, and like, all this gratitude that people were like speaking about for all of humanity, humankind, for God, and for everything, all the experiences, just a gratitude for yourself as well. So yeah, you come to realize that you're respecting yourself, and also like being grateful for the triggers that your twin flame is showing you. It's like one of the signs that you're ending separation, like a clear sign given that Shaleia, that hey, like being grateful in those moments instead of like blaming them is like a shift, a real shift in your journey. And that feels so good to like just learn this lesson, and let go of resentments, and so like the world is your enemy in some ways. Like I feel like we're letting go of that suffering and entering into really new phase. And I really feel that it's like a new phase for us, and feels so good. And I wanted to say something else and I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. Oops.
Good. You remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that phase, coming in, and I feel like, yeah, I really feel it coming in, and I really feel like it's I don't know if I don't know if this is true. I don't know if you earn respect, or I don't know if it's a given, but like what we were talking about was building that muscle of respect and building the muscle of trust. And just looking back on what Jeff and Shaleia have gone through since, starting the community and TFAS and everything, it's like they've really laid the foundation for like immense respect and like gratitude to come their way. And yeah, I guess that I just really feel that, and wanted to touch on that with when it comes to respect. Yeah, because I know we're so passionate about this work and want to get it out there and all of this stuff. And I think I already said this, but I just feel with the new era, there is a next level of respect and next level of admiration coming. And it feels really good because, we've cultivated it, like we've created it by all showing up and respecting what God has called us to do, and respecting like, yeah, like when Dylan was saying he learned to respect the gift or accept the gift, like at the same time, on the other side of that, I had to learn to like respect God asking me to surrender over and over and over again, and not control and not force. And in our own way, we both built this trust for each other. I feel like you built a trust towards me to know I'm not going to force anything on you or control you. And like I received this trust from him where like it just like what everything Jeff and Shaleia had taught was coming true in our union. And so it really just was a beautiful lesson of recognizing like how much God loves me, and like how even though it seems so hard at some times, like it gets so much easier, and like that love will always prevail, like, and to just respect the process.
I agree 100%. I think it was perfectly said. I also feel like I agree with like the volunteer side, the Church of Eden growing. I feel like we have, it's like, it's not even like a very specific action from someone, but it's bringing in this new respect. It's just like this energetic force where I feel like, okay, now I feel like I have a new foundation where I can like build my leadership on, for example, or things like that, or build my service on, and it feels so good, like to naturally have that, but also like to recognize that definitely like gave us that, and that we worked for that, we worked hard for that. And like the thing I wanted to say is that as a child, I was like, I always had that admiration for the world, for the little things. I think maybe it was not accepted by some members of my like extended family, which is funny because there's other ones that I'm like feeling disrespect with. And it was like sometimes the world tries to put down your light, and saying like, hey, why are you like so joyful and in admiration and grateful, but it's so goofy, but goofy not in a good way. And I love that, like, I will quote my twin flame on that because he loves saying that, but like the world is trying to make you small, and like don't wait for the world to tell you to do something impossible. Like if you want to do it, like it becomes possible, and you make a place for yourself in the world. And like in that, I know is my teacher because I just try to live by that mantra and heal my family wounds through that. And I just feel like so much of like self-trust and self-respect was rebuilt in that. And I just like, I wrote about that this morning for myself and to share afterwards. But it was just like, I didn't even like compare like doing it my family's way to my way now. It was like my way, but I used God's way, like now I know that I'm doing God's way. And these were things like very personal, like changing the way my apartment looks, like decoration and healing, like different stuff and changing my clothes, but it really felt like God's way. And I was so grateful that God knows me so intimately, that I'm such a part of him that I'm able to say like, hey, I healed this, and it's not my family's way now, it's like God's way. It was so peaceful. I just love that.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that myself. Like just the way that like even in general, like the world around you sometimes can have this perspective of like masculine or feminine, and just like ideals based on like success or um yeah, being important, or like having or what a good life looks like, or or what a connection with God is. And I think that like as a humanity, like we're still like understanding like what it means to have this connection with God, and how like valuable that can be. And because like I can't say that my grandparents really understand like that they can have a connection with God, and that God is with them always. And so it's something that like I'm very grateful to be in this light of understanding, and growing towards God, and knowing that he's always with me, and having that that knowing that's truth, and not to just question it as like a, well, and I'm not sure if I really understood it, but yeah, like we'll do it, and we'll do a prayer tonight, I guess. And that's kind of my grandpa's understanding of like, we'll pray to the Lord, and like it's just very like it's fun, it's cute. It's like I've seen him kind of progress towards like listening a little bit more to like when we talk, like when I would talk about God in some way, and it's not like I talk about it at the table like Jeff had said it in class, but just my connection with God, and how I kind of live in that way. He's started to kind of try and understand at least, and but I think that like it takes time and it's a process, um and it's amazing to be a part of this movement where we can help other people understand it in like a logical way, and not like in a way of like Christianity or Catholicism kind of preached the beliefs and the commandments upon people. It's so much different, and there's so much easily kind of reciprocated for me.
Yeah, it's much more complete and feels more like more accessible. It's not, it's evolving every day and not set in its ways, COU, and it's really powerful, and it's paving the way for, a new, we say this all the time, new era, like it is, and it's amazing. And yeah, I loved what you'd said, Doreen, and Dylan too. You guys both, like, just about, letting go of those familiar patternings and choosing God's way instead. And like, that's so powerful. So powerful. And, even if you've been taught that something is God's way and you discover that's not truly God's way for you, like, that's okay. Like, God has his own special way for you. And it's safe to respect that and respect yourself and what God reveals to you on your journey, because it's going to be unique. And I think that they emphasize that today as well in the sermon about how everyone's going to have a personal, unique message from God, and he's going to speak to you in your own unique way. And it's safe, and it's and it's okay to just trust that and to continue surrendering to it.
Exactly. And I think as a closing, I want to go full circle on what you were saying at the beginning, where like everyone has a piece, so everyone has a place as well. And I feel like in answer to maybe of family situations that we may be having, because a lot of us have them, even if they're not like too dire. I think just taking on the responsibility to build that muscle and just showing up and sharing this with like people that want to hear it will help other people embrace the path as well. I think we're lucky to not have a path where like you have to wait until you're in heaven, like paradise, another place, to like see the full results, but you can like build it right now. And in this, I'm just thinking of like Michaela and the fact that her sister joined the work, and that it was like 5 years in the making, but just by being true to herself, like she called in the right person, bio family, soul family. And I think such a message of hope that, this message will find its way through us. And that sometimes it's hard, but like just by surrendering to our peace, peace, being at peace, and also the peace, like our peace, we can definitely like share this with the world, like help people find this. And I think that's what matters.
Amen.
Yeah.
I agree.
Amen.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, we've come literally full circle because we are almost at the hour. So I want to thank you both for this very rich conversation, really insightful. And I want to thank everyone that's watched us live and that's watching who's watching us on YouTube. If you like this and if you want to see more, know more about the Church of England, really invite you to like and subscribe this video and share it with other people that may need to hear this message as well. And we'll see you for next week's Sunday service. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Hearing.